even with all these molds, which is well over 300, dating back to the teens. Sometimes I don't have a mold for a particular mount. What we have here is a 1931 Peerless engine mounts, and I don't have a mold for them. So this is what I start with. Sit back and enjoy, and I'll show you how it's made. These particular mounts, when they're on the car, they have this big bracket that's riveted right to the steel. The rivets have to be cut off. It's a pretty tight fit. The rivets have to be cut off. And when they're all done with it, it goes back together with some grade 8 3/8 bolts. There are a few other manufacturers that use this same style mount, same design, and a lot of times I can just take that mold, make a couple of adjustments to it, and use it, and it becomes something that I can make more than one mount for. Late 20s Dodge cars and trucks, some Chryslers, early 30s Marmon V16s, late 20s, early 30s Auburns, the 8-cylinder and the 12-cylinder. They all use the same design. And there's probably 6 different molds that make up those mounts. Unfortunately, in this case, it's just enough different that I can't, and plus I won't, make any major changes to a mount, to a mold. I don't want to be destroying it just so that I can make one of something different and not be able to use the other ones again. Here's one of the mounts after the rubber's been removed. And it's taking a trip through the glass beater, so it's nice and clean. Now I have to have some way to locate this so it doesn't do this when it goes on the mold. So what I got to do is this. It's pretty quick. Sits in there, doesn't move, and this is actually the top. This part of the mold, this piece of aluminum is the top half. So I need a bottom. Here we go again. Now I got to put on some sides. Here's one. Here's two. How about a couple of ends? One and the other end. Now the center sits this way. So I need something to go in here. It's going to take up all that space and support it. I got an idea. How about that? Works for me. But I got it upside down. Sits in there nice and tight. Just got to be centered. Now that it's centered, the other piece is going to go on and sit right in there. Drops that right in the center. And then all this will go down inside like that. Then this piece will sit on top A little tough to get it lined up, but you get the idea. Now how are we going to get the rubber in there? What I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a hole right there, and I'm going to drill a hole right there, and that'll inject it through here and into the center cavity. Right in there. And that'll fill it all up. And I'll end up with one of these. Only it'll be clean. And it'll be new rubber instead of all this old. When all that rubber goes squishing down into this area to fill up all here, you'll notice we have some holes. Rubber's going to go down in there, and I don't want it to. So all still has to be drilled and bolted together. That'll come next. This is the area in here and in here, and the same thing on the other side that has to be filled in. You're going to block it all the way up and through here so that no rubber escapes. Otherwise it just makes it miserable to try to get apart. Okay, change of plans. I got to fill in those two areas, so rather than try to mill something down to 56 thousandths, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to mill out this area, the thickness of here, this thickness, and then let this go right up against it. It works out good because when I was cutting these two pieces, I cut one a little too short. So I'll be bringing these two in. I'll be bringing these outsides a little closer by, probably 5/32. And I'll be able to take that off of this. Take it off the two, right on these two end pieces. Or I could mill out in here and drop these in. I like the other way better though. Okay, over to the Bridgeport. Now that's over with, the space is all filled up. No place for the rubber to go. Now I just gotta shrink these down. Be right back. I moved ahead a little bit. Shrunk the two sides. Drilled and tapped all the corners. Everything fits in here nice. Made locating holes for the top. Make sure everything fits right. And also located my pot for the top. This is where the rubber will go and get injected through here. There's a big piece pusher that goes on the top. Pushes the rubber through that hole. And ends up coming out through this hole where I drilled a hole through the top of this. This lines up with that. All the rubber goes in. Makes a mount. What's left? Well, probably just clean it up. Take another, just have to take another trip through the bead blaster. I don't want any of the oil from my hands to get on anything. Make it all nice and clean. Then we got to heat it up in the press. Put some release agent on the aluminum so that the rubber doesn't stick to it. And that's it for now. It only took 21 hours to get to this point. Mold is sitting in the press now. Let's get the release agent on everything. Temperature of the press is sitting at a cool 300 degrees, say average. It's in being cooked. $27 tons of pressure. $320 degrees. And we got another 44 minutes to go. We'll see what happens. Here's the mount, fresh out of the mold. Still too damn hot to handle, but it looks like the rubber went everywhere I wanted it to. Now I'll just bring it over and clean it up, paint it up, and you'll check it out then. Well, there is 4 spots that the rubber went to that I really didn't want it to go to. These corners here. It just means I have to dig them out using my handy dandy knife. But overall, it's a success. Remember what it looked like before? All that dried rubber looks terrible. Well, here it is, all nice and brand new again. New rubber, all vulcanized in there. It's as good as new, and it will last forever.